Trump has come out and stated this problem explicitly. He was asked recently on Fox and Friends about Black Lives Matter, and he said, without pulling any punches, Black Lives Matter is a Marxist organization.
Nobody's done for the black community, African American community, what I've done. And I will tell you, they had Black Lives Matter. Where did it start? Marching down streets, screaming, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. They were talking about policemen and women. Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. So all of a sudden, this has taken on this air of great respectability. Well, how does it start there? It's a Marxist group. It's a Marxist group that is not looking for good things for our country. And now I see these leagues all kneeling down. And again, nobody has done more for the black community by far. I always say nobody other than, I'll give the one exception, Abraham Lincoln, okay? But even that, I mean, to be honest with you, but nobody has done more than I have. But when I see people kneeling during the playing and disrespecting our flag and disrespecting our national anthem, what I do personally is turn off the game.
I love this caveat. Okay, maybe I'm the best president for black people, maybe other than Abraham Lincoln. Although, frankly, even him, I don't know. Okay, moving on. And so I love that. I mean, obviously, this is entertaining stuff. He's calling into a top-rated morning show. People are listening to this. But crucially, what he's doing here, he's not just throwing attacks at his political opponents or the BLM movement, which is, it's important that he's recognizing how radical left the BLM movement is. But he's reminding people of history. History is the key here. The forgetfulness is the key here. The left hates history. That's why they want to rewrite history. And when they don't rewrite history, they want to erase history. And they're not erasing history books, they're desecrating and tearing down historical statues, historical figures. Not even just the really bad ones, you know, the ones who sided with the Confederacy or something like that. They're pulling down George Washington. They're pulling down Thomas Jefferson because they have a narrative. They have this narrative that America was racist and terrible from the beginning. And it's awful, and no one should support it, and we've got to get away from that history and overturn that history and liberate ourselves from the oppressive past. Then we can move forward into the progressive future. Now, anybody who actually reads the Founding Fathers, anybody who looks into their lives will find out that what the left is saying is complete BS. The founding was not racist, wasn't racist at all. The institution of slavery existed. Obviously, that institution complicates American history, but to call the founders and the founding racist or bigoted or oppressive or whatever is absurd. It's not defensible if you know the history. So what does the left do? They want to erase the history. And here's what Trump does in a very, very practical way. Trump is so good at this, at painting pictures, at creating images in your minds. That's why when he was talking about the other candidates in 2016, he would create these images. So he'd talk about how little Marco's always sweating. Right? You remember, he used to go back, that little Marco, he's always sweating. I know he always likes to drink water. He's always sweating. You thought, why is he going after him for perspiration? Well, he's doing it to create this image of a young politician who's nervous, who's not confident, who maybe isn't so sure of what he's saying. Jeb Bush, he called low-energy Jeb. He didn't call him moderate Jeb or squishy Jeb or liberal Jeb, no. Low energy. It creates such an image of this guy who's just, he's just a little lethargic. He's not going to be able to take the fight to Washington. All these kinds of images would come up. Crooked Hillary. It's an image of a crook. Even the idea of something being crooked. It's not quite straight. It's not quite right. And that's what he's doing here. He says, you remember BLM? He doesn't talk about the origins of BLM at the meeting of Patrisse Cullors and Opal Tometi and Alicia Garza getting funded by the Open Society Foundation, which is run by George Soros. He's not talking, that's way too technical. He says, you remember BLM was founded, they were marching down the streets saying, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. Because that happened. We saw that video. That creates a hideous, ugly image. It's an image that actually took place, by the way, when BLM was founded. So that's where our mind goes. That's what we have to remind people of. We have to remind people of not just Joe Biden, though we should bring up his words and his sayings and his role in history too, but the whole history of the left, of the Democratic Party. Because people don't remember, especially with this 24-minute news cycle, things are changing so fast, people forget about this kind of thing. And it's very easy then to rewrite the past, to erase the past and move forward into these ridiculous leftist ideologies. I hope you enjoyed that short segment from the Michael Knowles Show. Be sure to check out the full episode linked in the description or download the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.